Joe, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. How you been? How's things, Joe? Kerry, what's up, Miles? What's up, CMF? Good to see you as well, Kerry. How you doing? How you been? How's things? Yama, hey, Miles. Good to see you as well, Yama. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, Miles. Jason, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Looks like I'm late. Looks like you're perfect timing. Hey, brother Miles, good to see you as well. How you doing, Comatose? How you been? Happy Pisces, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Happy New Year as well. Happy New Year to everyone, by the way. Good evening, Miles and CMF. JP, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How you been? Hi from Malaysia. Shakir, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Hi, Miles. Hope you had a great New Year's. I had a great New Year's. Artistic, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Happy New Year's to you as well. Dennis, hi, Miles and CMF. Good to see you as well. Dennis, good to see you. How you doing? Manny, evening, Miles and CMF. Good to see you as well. Manny, how you doing? Happy New Year's to you as well. Happy New Year's to everyone. It's good to be back. The CMF is back on the road. So let's do a breakdown of what we're going to be talking about tonight's live. I mean, a lot of things have happened. We've also had the breakout of XRP a little bit happening, the breakout of XLM a little bit happening as well. HBAR broke out a little bit. ADA broke out a little bit. Cardano was a part of Ripple's team, pretty much, you could say. I mean, the Cardano founders backing Ripple. So every time XRP moves, what's bound to move is XLM. What's bound to also move is HBAR and Cardano. Hi, Miles. Dennis, good to see you. How you doing? Manny, good. Hi, Miles. Hey, Miles and CMF. Happy New Year's to you all. Denise, good to see you. How you doing? Happy New Year's to you as well. Evening, Miles, and happy 2025. Pure, good to see you. How you doing? Evening, and happy 2025 as well. So let's do a breakdown of what we're going to be talking about on tonight's episode of the CMF Live, episode 303 of the CMF Live. On tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about the US. In terms of, is the US going to be selling off gold to create their Bitcoin reserve? Now, if they do, they would have to sell roughly about 8,134 tons of gold in their reserves, essentially, and buy Bitcoin. Now, these are perspectives that are coming in from economists. In other words, is there going to be a Bitcoin reserve? If they're going to, then they have to sell quite a lot of gold. Is America up to the idea of giving away gold to buy digital gold, you could say, in a sense, and Bitcoin? Then we're going to be talking about Switzerland. Every country is talking about how they're going to start a Bitcoin reserve or some sort of a crypto portfolio. And that's only because of Donald Trump's perspective on the matter of creating a Bitcoin reserve. Switzerland has got to a stage where now they're voting, a public vote, essentially, is, are they going to be having a Bitcoin reserve or not? I'm guessing the majority of the public in Switzerland is going to be voting yes, but we're still going to go through that on tonight's live. Then we're going to be talking about Morgan Stanley. Now, I've talked about Morgan Stanley quite a lot in the past regarding how they're creating some sort of a trading platform, how they're leaning more towards crypto assets and crypto trading, institutional trading. So we're going to talk about that on tonight's live as well regarding Morgan Stanley. Then we're going to be talking about Web3. Web3's role in protecting digital rights and privacy going into 2025. This is the year of pretty much CBDC releases, stricter rules and regulations for the crypto space. Now, we've seen that obviously with the MiC regulations, where they already started banning some stablecoins and some other assets as well. But as we go more into 2025, there's going to be a lot of rules and regulations. And what a lot of people wonder about is, how's privacy going to work on the CBDC world? How's privacy going to work in a restricted crypto regulation space? And this is a perspective, by the way, coming in from multiple CEOs and a House representative from the US, and essentially a White House representative as well. Then we're going to be talking about Elon Musk. Everybody knows for the longest time that Elon Musk has been talking about turning X into a everything platform, and that half of the world's transactions are going to go through X. So the question still remains till this day, as in, is X going to do this? And if they do, what project is X going to choose to be the backbone? So we're going to talk about that on tonight's live as well. Then we're going to be talking about the odds of a Solana ETF happening in 2025. Now, to put in perspective, there's a lot of ETF applications that have essentially been applied to the SEC, but Gary Gensler hasn't looked into any of them. But the good news is Gary Gensler is leaving his job January 20th. But there is a perspective coming in from Van X Research Head, talking about how Solana ETF listing is going to be happening in 2025, and other ETFs are going to be happening as well in 2025. Then we're going to be talking about BBVA, which is one of Turkey's largest banks. who's now entered inside, essentially inside the crypto space. Not only that, but they're entering it with MiCA crypto regulations policies. So as I said previously, whatever happens in the EU in terms of their regulations, they are a G20 country, which means more cases, other G20 countries are going to have similar rules and regulations, which means if the MiCA regulations already banned USDT because of their rules and regulations, does that mean that Turkey is also getting ready to ban USDT somewhere down the road in 2025? And are other countries going to follow in suit, particularly G20 countries banning USDT one by one? Is it a possibility? Then we're going to be talking about on tonight's live regarding Japan. In terms of Asia will shift follow US on Bitcoin reserves. Now, there's a perspective coming out from the CEO of a Japanese version of MicroStrategy in terms of, are they going to be essentially creating a Bitcoin reserve in Japan, or Japanese companies going to start essentially creating their own crypto portfolios or Bitcoin reserve and following suit more towards a MicroStrategy plan. Then we're going to be talking about tonight's live regarding the matters of China. Now, it seems like the tables have turned because in the past, the US was the only country that would go around and sanction other countries. I mean, the US has sanctioned a multitude of countries, but the tables have turned. This time around, China is sanctioning the US. It's odd. It's never happened in the past before. It's more, on the other side of the US sanctioning Chinese banks, the US sanctioning Chinese companies. This time around, China's sanctioning 28 US companies. So we're going to talk about that on tonight's live as well. Then we're going to be talking about, on tonight's live, regarding essentially Tether, USDT, essentially facing one of their worst 2 years, possibly to date. Then we're going to be talking about tonight's live regarding Ripple and XRP, leading the charge, especially in the UAE. And then we're going to be talking about essentially XRP in terms of the start it's had already. XRP has had a great start to 2025. As I said previously inside the CMF Telegram group, this is the year of the CMF 2025. But not only that, it's also the year of XRP, in my opinion. So we're going to talk about that on tonight's live as well towards the end when we get to Ripple news. So multitude of news to go for, essentially on tonight's live, mixture of news to go through on tonight's live regarding Switzerland news, US news, China news, Taiwan news, Ripple news, Bitcoin news, reserve news, research news from Van Eck and House representatives and US government members and CEOs. But before we go through any of those news topics, I just want to say to everyone watching right now, welcome to the CMF Live and Happy New Year to everyone. And on this live, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world. By the way, this is episode 303 of the CMF Live. And on this live, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, and regulations. And vital information, otherwise, for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital space. And the disclaimer of this live, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. We also do Q&As on this live as well, which means if you do have any questions, put it down in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Now, the first news we are going to be going through on tonight's live is regarding the US, and are they going to be selling off their gold to buy digital gold? But before we go through that news, let's go inside the comment section first. Let's see what's going on inside the comment section, and we go straight to the first news. And then we go back to Q&A, news, Q&A, news. In other words, just back and forward. So let's see what's going on inside the comment section first, and then we go straight to the first news. Hi, brother. Kamal, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How you been? Evening, Miles of CMF. Purus, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Let's talk about Tangent, please. We will. Hi, Miles of CMF. Good to see you. Peg, good to see you as well. How you doing? There's not made... Okay, this whole Tangent news that's going around. Tangent news should be top priority today. Good. Hello, Miles. I'll talk about Tangent. Hello, Miles and family. Great to be back. T, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, brother Miles and the rest of the CMF family. Funky brother, good to see you. How you doing? We're going to talk about Tangent. I'll talk about Tangent the first thing. Morning, Miles and CMF. Shelly, good to see you. How you doing, Shelly? How you been? Happy New Year, CMF. Funky brother, let's go. Hi, Miles and CMF. Stormy, good to see you. How you doing? How you been, Stormy? It's all looking good at the moment. Yes, it is. Happy New Year, CMF. Let's go, Stormy. Let's go, CMF. Let's go, funky brother. XRP. What about XRP? Y9? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Good to see you all for you forever. How you doing? Miles, you think this is the start of the bull run? We were already in a bull run. It's just a very manipulative situation. If Switzerland gets the go-ahead for Bitcoin reserves, could LCX benefit as it's regulated their Miles? If Switzerland gives the green light to a Bitcoin reserve, is LCX going to benefit from this? Yes or no? If Switzerland buyers are going to start going through LCX exchange to buy Bitcoin, then you could say, LCX could be benefiting from this scenario. But in most cases, people in Switzerland are buying from a Swiss exchange called Swiss 6, is what it's called. Swiss 6 Digital is what it's called, is the platform they're using. It's like their Binance in Switzerland they're using to buy Bitcoin. So maybe some go through LCX, but the majority are probably going to go through Swiss 6 Digital. Will XRP be $6 soon? Considerable change. I would say it's very close to it. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Wish you happy New Year's to all. Let's 2025 be the most amazing for everyone. Let's go Bill XRP. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Lena, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? How do I get my X account unsuspended? Help. Scott, if your X account is suspended, how come you're using your X account now to talk? But direct message me, Scott. I'll take a look into it. George, hi, Miles and CMF. George, good to see you. How you doing? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Tor, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Will be more dump or just go high? Always expect market volatility. Hi, hello, Miles. Richard, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Do you have the Millionaire Trump NFT and do you recommend buying it? I don't have the Trump NFTs, and recommending you to buy anything is not what I'm going to do in any sort of a way. Particularly, I don't personally buy NFTs. NFTs, in my opinion, are a waste of money and a waste of time. I shift more towards financial projects than any other crypto side. Financial projects, data projects, and so on is what I would particularly go towards, not NFTs. If you want to go for it, it's your choice. Good evening, Mark. Good evening. Happy New Year's, Donnie. Happy New Year's to you as well. Good evening. How you doing? A few days ago, I said we are going to start Greens 2025 and finishing Greens. Yes, you did, Showzone, but I agreed with you because I was pretty much on the same page as you as well. I've been saying for the longest time, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028, we're going to have 4 great years on the Trump. About a third of the year way through this bull run is my guess. We're going to continue. Look, the more we go towards a Trump presidency, January 20th, first 100 days, rules and regulations, new SEC chairman, new CFTC chairman, all that happening. The more we go towards that, all of that happens within the first 100 days, the higher the chance we have of going into utility faster. If we're going to utility, it's going to be very difficult for some crypto projects to go through a bear market experience because now their utility is being used. You've got to understand that there's a very big difference between, essentially crypto assets and stocks. Stocks have no utility, which means stocks can be impacted by bear market situations, while as crypto assets that have utility purposes and under rules and regulations are being adapted and are being used, then it's very difficult for those crypto assets to go through bear market scenarios. Because, for example, if XRP is being used as a medium of payments back and forward, it's very difficult if we go for a bear market, XRP suffers in any sort of a way because it's being used 24/7 on payments. If we're going through a bear market situation, AVAX is being used for tokenization, for example, on a heavy basis by institutions worldwide. It's very difficult for AVAX to, feel some sort of a bear market scenario because it's being used 24/7. So it's very difficult for crypto assets to suffer in a bear market scenario when their utility is being used and adapted under rules and regulations. So we're going to consider that as well, because stocks will, get affected by bear market scenarios because they have no purpose. It just goes up and down. Cryptos not only go up and down, but they have a utility. Very different. Now, on the topic of Tangem. So there's a little note that came out from Tangem, and they said that Tangem wallets could become compromised or something like that on those lines. Now, some people might have taken this out of proportion. Tangem did say that only 0.1% of accounts were affected by this whole Tangem bug. And they did say even the 0.1% and the people who didn't get affected, no one's passphrases or seed phrases or wallets or anything, nobody was emptied out, nobody's passphrases were shown to public or whatever. Nobody's wallets were affected in any sort of a way from the Tangem bug. And they have updated it, they have fixed it and got completely rid of it. So if you are holding a Tangem wallet, don't worry, nothing's pretty much happened in any sort of a way. Do update your Tangem app ASAP if you already haven't. So if you haven't updated your Tangem app, please do, because they've patched the bug. So I recommend doing that ASAP. But other than that, there's not really much of a big issue on Tangem. There was a small bug, they fixed it, got rid of it. there's no more issues whatsoever. I'll also post one of the CMF members from the moderators could post it inside the Telegram chat regarding what Tangent said on their own blog website. But yeah, you're perfectly fine. Don't worry about Tangent. Is a good idea to hold 100,000 XDC if I can afford this? Sure, if you want. Morning, Miles and CMF. Happy New Year's and good to see everyone. Solomon, good to see you as well. How you doing? Happy New Year's to you as well. Miles, are we going to be millionaires this year as the Japanese banks are going to be buying, essentially, are going to be using XRP? If SBI, essentially backs their word of 80% of Japanese banks using XRP, they back their word, and that happens on the rules and regulations, the option does happen, then sure, definitely. Greetings, Miles and CMF. Happy New Year's. Let's go 2025. Let's go, Ray. But yeah, if the SBI sticks to their words, they do buy, 80% of banks running the show in terms of XRP as a backbone and so on, and the amount of money coming in, rules and regulations, adoptions, then sure, we're definitely going to be hitting those massive, heavy numbers. Now, I'll post it now. Thank you so much, Shelly, for posting the Telegram, inside the same Telegram group regarding the blog from Tangent. Thank you, Shelly, for that. Greetings, Miles and CMF. Happy New Year's. Let's go 2025. Ray, let's go. Good to see you. How you doing? Happy New Year's. Now, US. Is the US going to be selling off gold, physical gold, to buy digital gold? When I logged into Tangent, my XRP XDC was missing, and then I logged back in, and it was all there. Sometimes that happens, so don't worry about that. Regarding logging into your Tangent, and sometimes it doesn't show your balance, refresh it a couple of times. If it doesn't still work, just exit the app, close it, open it back up. You should be back to normal. That's okay. That's not a major situation. That's happened to me before as well. That's fine. Now, first news on Price Live. Is the US going to be selling off physical gold to buy digital gold? Can the US sell their 8,134 tons of gold in its reserves and buy Bitcoin? These are some perspectives coming out of the US. The idea of the United States government investing in Bitcoin has been gaining traction after two proposals were unveiled at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville, essentially the sparking debate situation. Both plans introduced in July suggest that Bitcoin could essentially complement or even rival gold as a major asset in the US, a treasury reserve type of style. Former President, essentially Donald Trump, and current elect President Donald Trump and Senator Cynthia Lummis have offered different, essentially, views on Bitcoin's role in America's financial structure for the future. Trump is proposing that the US stop selling their Bitcoin it already has. The government currently holds about 198,000, essentially, Bitcoins worth about $19 billion. Seized from criminal activity and often sold to fund law enforcement or compensate victims. Trump argues that holding on to these Bitcoins stockpile would provide a valuable national asset at no additional cost in any sort of a way. And Senator Lummis proposes a more ambitious plan. The US Treasury would buy 1 million BTC worth essentially up to $100 billion at current price and hold for at least 20 years. Senator Lummis essentially also believes that Bitcoin could support the US financial system somewhere down the line and supplement gold reserves and even help reduce the national debt by selling Bitcoin in the future if necessary. Lummis also relies on the revaluation of the US gold reserve, currently quoted at essentially $42 per ounce, but well below the market rate of over $2,500 per ounce. And Lummis argues that by updating this valuation, the Treasury could issue new certifications to the Fed, thus unlocking funds to buy Bitcoin. The United States currently holds 8,134 tons of gold from their gold standard era. But this gold no longer serves any official purpose in the financial system. Economists and skeptics have expressed concerns about both proposals. George, for example, an economist at the Cato Institution, argues that neither plan will significantly benefit taxpayers or strengthen the US dollar's dominance. George also rejects Lummis's debt reduction argument, pointing out that the US has yet to sell its gold reserves to pay off the debt, likely because of resistance from gold investors and miners. He predicts that Bitcoin investors will show similar opposition if the government attempted to liquidate its holdings. George also criticizes Lummis's plans and financing essentially mechanisms, revealing that gold reserves to print new money and may seem costly, but George warns that it would ultimately create liabilities for the Fed as it will pay interest on the newly printed money. It looks like you're going to get something for nothing, but you're not. Okay, so George is a new person. There's a few people coming out the US, high-profile people, CEOs, economists, and even a US House representatives came out as well and talked about the whole Bitcoin reserve. Are they going to be having a Bitcoin reserve? Yes and no. And if they do, is America ready and prepared to actually sell physical gold to buy digital gold? Because it is quite a big argument of America actually doing this and pulling the trigger and selling actual gold, physical gold, for digital gold, Bitcoin, an asset that is volatile compared to an asset that isn't much of a volatile stage. And a lot of people are disagreeing with it in America, but there are people who are also agreeing with the idea of a digital gold happening in America, and so on. Now, one of the arguments is that if America starts buying Bitcoin, then that means America is going to start printing more money, which will damage the US economy. If they do, which will damage the US economy somewhere down the line, and that wouldn't be good. So the idea of resolving the US debt by buying Bitcoin will completely go down the drain if the US starts buying Bitcoin just to print more fiat. But if they print more fiat, then that fiat will go back inside the crypto market space, most likely, which will boost the crypto market space in a sense, because it wouldn't be on any sort of scenarios of war, because under a Trump presidency, it's very unlikely a war would start. So that money has to pump into the market, in other words. So it's the arguments of both sides. One side is saying, let's do a Bitcoin reserve in America, and their politicians and so on, House representatives, US government members, they're all saying, let's do a Bitcoin reserve. The other side is saying, selling off actual physical gold for digital gold that is quite volatile is a bit stupid. They both got their arguments going on. And one side is also saying that if they do buy gold, if they do buy Bitcoin, the US might just stop printing money again. And that wouldn't really solve the US debt problem, would it? Is what they're trying to argue. So there's a bit of an arguing situation going on right now in the US. Should we do a Bitcoin reserve? Should we not do a Bitcoin reserve? Should we sell off physical gold to buy digital gold that is volatile? Could go either way. But now, the next news we are going to be talking about is regarding Switzerland. But let's go inside the comment section first, because I see some opinions about Bitcoin. When I just realized I only have 550 XRP. Will we see a good pullback to buy more? Possibly a good pullback. Like 40 cents, 50 cents, 60 cents, probably not for a long time, or never. 95 cents, probably never as well. But I would suggest just dollar cost averaging into it. If you're somebody that's missed out on XRP, just dollar cost average into it. Best option. No financial advice in this sort of a way. Yeah, is pullback coming? I have only 100 XRP. A pullback is always, look, a correction is always going to be there. A manipulated market space is always going to be there. There's so many scenarios. Turbulence is always going to be there inside the market space. So there's a lot of things that can happen inside the market space. But the pullbacks you're expecting, like 60 cents XRPs and 50 cent XRPs, probably not. So the best option is the dollar cost average into it. Bitcoin is going to zero. A perspective coming in from Robbie B. Robbie B said it's manipulated by Putin. Interesting. Robbie B says that Bitcoin is manipulated by Putin. Well, few issues with that, Robbie. One, the biggest Bitcoin mining corporations are actually US companies. So the majority of Bitcoin's network, is actually handled through the US. A country that's holding the most amount of Bitcoin is pretty much the US government as well, on paper. Now, we don't know off paper who's holding the most, but on paper, America's pretty much leading number one. America's leading number one also in terms of the Bitcoin mining industry. It's also leading number one. So it's difficult for Putin to be the one that's manipulating Bitcoin when America is leading in every aspect. And also is the argument of who created Bitcoin. Good day, Miles and CMF. Mike, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? But also, Putin's not that intelligent to be able to do that. Putin is a very intelligent man. Don't get me wrong. He's a very intelligent person, but not that intelligent. How many XRPs is good to start for the future? As many as you can, depending on your budget, to be fairly honest. Now, what I'm trying to say is nobody's as intelligent as the CIA. There's not a single president or prime minister or a government agency that is more intelligent than the person in charge of the CIA. Now, Switzerland. Switzerland's federal, essentially, chancellery registers Bitcoin essentially for public voting. Is Bitcoin going to be a reserve asset in Switzerland? The Swiss Federal Chancellery registered a new initiative proposing that the Swiss National Bank could hold Bitcoin as a part of its reserves, potentially setting a new stage for a public referendum. The public is going to get to vote. Can the Swiss National Bank hold Bitcoin or not? The initiative, spearheaded by a group of 10 Bitcoin advocates, including essentially Gia. Now, Gia, who happens to be Tether's vice president of energy and mining, and Yves, who's also the founder of Swiss Bitcoin think tank, and essentially who seeks to amend the Swiss federal constitution. The proposed amendment to Article 99, Paragraph 3 would require the SNB to build sufficient monetary reserves from its own earnings. Which part of them, consisting of gold and Bitcoin advocates for the initiative, argue and agree that incorporating Bitcoin into the nation's monetary framework would promote a financially sound and sovereign, essentially, Switzerland. According to the official documents coming out of Switzerland's National Bank, the process to secure a referendum requires a collection of 100,000 valid signatures from Swiss citizens. By June 30th, 2026, this represents approximately 1.12% of Switzerland's population of 8.92 million people. If the threshold is met, essentially, if the threshold is met, Swiss citizens will vote on the proposal through the country's direct democratic process. The initiative is renowned by its efforts of 24, essentially 4CH, which had initially postponed a similar proposal in October 2021 due to the Bitcoin's and relative novelty and strict national asset at the time. Since then, the global dialogue on Bitcoin's role in national reserves has definitely gained traction and completely changed. Additionally, El Salvador, essentially the first country in the world to use Bitcoin as a legal tender, partnered with Laguna, Switzerland as well, in October 2022 to promote Bitcoin's adoptions across Europe. As a part of the deal, the Central American country even opened a Bitcoin office and the honorary council dedicated to this mission. Switzerland, essentially, and El Salvador working together. Despite the momentum that stemmed essentially from the public and global interest, the proposal faces an uphill battle. It is important to note that the SNB has historically been skeptical of cryptocurrencies, the Swiss National Bank. In fact, the central bank's chairman and Chairman Morton essentially recently expressed caution regarding assets like Bitcoin and Ether, and raised issues about the high volatility of these assets, arguing that it hinders their use of payments. He also brought attention to their connections with illegal activities and complicities involved in regulating them. However, their initiative registration in itself a significant milestone, as reflected a growing interest in integrating digital assets into a traditional financial system. It also aligns with Switzerland's reputation as a hub for cryptocurrencies, innovation, and adoption. So Switzerland's chairman is against the idea of Bitcoin and Ethereum because he said they're too volatile and difficult to control, and they can't be used for money purposes. I get it. Bitcoin is terrible for money purposes. Bitcoin is a great asset for just to stand still. Pretty much a reserve asset. Ethereum is a terrible asset for payments because nobody wants to pay $60 in fees to send their friend $20. Because if we're going to go into an Ethereum payment system, I'm fine with the traditional banking system, because if I send my friend $20, I don't get charged a single penny from my bank. But if I send my friend $20 on Ethereum, I might be paying $60 in fees, which makes no sense. So Ethereum is a very bad asset for payments. And if anybody stands there and goes, Ethereum is great for payments, you're either blind or dumb or pretending to be dumb. There's no other way around it. And Bitcoin is a great asset to stand still in, a reserve asset, not to be used for payments or anything else, pretty much, just to borrow against. So I understand why the Swiss chairman of their national bank is coming out and saying essentially he doesn't want to use those two particular assets for any purposes whatsoever, but they are putting it to a public vote. People in Switzerland are going to get the vote. Can their national bank hold Bitcoin? If the national bank can hold Bitcoin, then any other bank in Switzerland could pretty much hold Bitcoin as well and create it as a reserve asset, type of portfolio for it. And maybe they'll move on to Ethereum and so on and so on. But as of now, the national bank's chairman has come forward in Switzerland and said he's not really fond of Bitcoin or Ethereum, but he hasn't talked about bad about other crypto assets. Now, some people might mention, some people might say, well, it's because the other crypto assets are not relative. That's why he only mentioned, he's not keen on Bitcoin and Ethereum so far. But he could have said he's not keen on crypto assets in general. Instead, he used the words of he's not keen on Bitcoin and Ethereum. He didn't say all crypto, just said those two. What I'm trying to say is maybe he has other cryptos in mind. Now, the next news we're going to be talking about is Morgan Stanley. But before we go through Morgan Stanley news, let's go inside the comment section first. Let's see what's going on there. As I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. Be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. By the way, thank you so much to everybody that's retweeting this live, because I'm getting notifications on X. Thanks so much to everybody that's been retweeting this live, who's been liking this live and putting a comment outside the live as well on X. And thanks so much to everyone on YouTube who's also liked the live as well. I'm getting notifications. Now, do you think XRP, okay, before I read that one, I think there's a comment on top I don't read. How many XRP is good for stock for future, whatever you can afford? Do you think XRP will be backed by gold? Do I think XRP will be backed by gold? No. It's a possibility, but here's the thing. XRP backed by gold is pretty much a rumor that's been spinning inside the crypto space. If XRP is backed by gold, or if XRP isn't backed by gold, it really isn't going to affect the price it's supposed to reach. Because XRP just being a medium for payments for a CBDC world is more than enough for XRP to reach those high numbers of $10,000 per XRP or $100,000 per XRP. If XRP plays the role it needs to play, which has become a medium of payments for stablecoins around the world, for international domestic payments, CBDCs, for wholesale CBDCs and retail CBDCs, for around the world, domestic and international payments, then XRP is going to reach those targets no matter what, over 10,000 or $1,000 XRP or so on, those high numbers. So XRP being backed by gold or not being backed by gold doesn't really matter as long as XRP plays the role it needs to, which is actually playing it in my opinion. The contracts are in place, the step-by-step, the coordinations, all there, licensings. There's so many things in play when it comes to Ripple and XRP. So XRP is going to play the role of a medium between wholesale CBDCs, retail CBDCs, domestic and international payments, and stablecoins. And it will reach easily those targets of 10,000 or 100,000 or whatever somewhere down the line. So it doesn't really need to be backed by a gold to reach those targets in any sort of a way. Now, if it is going to be good, if it isn't going to be, it isn't going to really affect its plans, is what I'm trying to say. It's still going to reach those targets, without a doubt, in my opinion. Which would you, and I said previously as well, 2025, in my opinion, is XRP 0. We're going to see a lot of movement happening on XRP. Which would you hold the most if it was you? Which would I hold the most if it was me? So there's a question coming in from Donnie. He said, would you rather hold XRP the most, XRP the most, HBAR the most, XDC the most, or XLM? It's very easy and essentially very easy answer for me. XRP. If I had the choice to hold out of XRP, XLM, XDC, and HBAR the most of, I'm holding XRP the most. Not saying the rest are bad. The rest are incredible assets as well. XLM is a great asset. HBAR is a great asset. XDC is a great asset. But in my opinion, XRP is just a step above. But I'll still hold the rest as well. But I'll hold the most of XRP, definitely. We can I do if with XRP in business? Sure. When do Swiss residents have to sign it by? Did you say June 2026, Miles? Yeah, they have a time limit by June. They're saying June 30th, 2026. So they're valid signatures from Swiss citizens by June 30th, 2026. If they get 100,000 signatures before June 2026, then it's pretty much good to go as well. They just need 100,000 signatures by June 2026. So if they get 100,000 signatures before then, it's still a green light. They're just giving it a big deadline for time for people to think about and vote on it. What do you think, Miles? Swap LAT to XDC? It's not a bad idea. XDC is obviously a better asset than LAT. LAT is inside the same category, financials, but XDC is better. Miles, I was able to log in using my non-verified account. My verified account has been suspended. I sent you a DM as you directed. Thanks. Okay, Scott, I'll take a look after live. No problem. I don't even think anything needs to be backing XRP when it's up and going. I agree with JP. I agree. what is going on with XDC Mouse? A lot through R3 Corda. I'll be honest with you, a lot through R3 Corda. Do you personally feel, Miles, XRP will hit 3 digits this year? Your own opinion, not financial advice. A question coming in from Pierce. Do I think XRP is going to hit 3 digits? Personal opinion, not financial advice. Look, I've said this before and I'll say it again. XRP to hit 3 digits. And crypto projects in the same category as XRP, financial category, XLM, XDC, HBON, and so on. But for XRP to hit 3 digits or beyond, 3 things need to happen. 1, this case needs to dismiss or settle. 2, rules and regulations. Ripple's clientele is banks and institutions, and banks and institutions are going to be the one that push XRP to, extraordinary levels. So for banks and institutions to be able to operate, they need to have rules and regulations in place so they don't operate in gray areas. Not only that, but for the longest time, the FDIC has been stifling banks in America to, stop them from working with crypto companies, which made life even more difficult for XRP to be able to expand in the American market space and work with banks. So, 1, the case needs to either dismiss or settle with Ripple. That will be the first green light. The second green light for XRP is regulations. Now, we do have Trump becoming president, essentially Trump taking the president role January 20th, which is amazing. We have SEC chairman Gary Gensler resigning on January 20th, which is also amazing. We have the FDIC chairman who's also resigning January 20th, who was the one stifling banks from working with Ripple and companies like Ripple, which is also amazing. And the first 100 days will be very crucial under President Trump, because that's when he's going to implement everything, the rules and regulations, the policies, and so on. So, second green light is rules and regulations. No more operating in gray areas, and banks can work with crypto companies. The third green light is going to be adoption. If we get all 3 green lights in 2025, then 3 digits will, easily reach that. Easily, if we get 3 green lights. If we get case dismissed or settled, we get rules and regulations, and the adoption is pretty much after rules and regulations. The sky is the limit. Honestly. The rules and regulations also apply to other crypto assets inside the financial category as well, and the data category, and the AI category, and the stablecoin category. Now, so that's what I would say. 3 green lights, we get that this year. Sky's the limit. XDC is a sleeper. I agree 100%. XDC is definitely a sleeper. I agree 100%. Thanks. No problem, Donnie. Anytime. And yeah, Burberry, 100% I agree with you. Outstanding regarding the price of gold and XRP, yes. XDC is not a big platform like Coinbase, and it's not, but it is definitely a great asset. So holding my bag of XDC is a good thing. Yes, definitely. I'm not a financial advisor. The more I read and the way I see things going, and my research, as Miles tells us today, leads me to believe if it doesn't hit 3 digits, then it will get mighty close. Yeah, XLM and USDC have a relationship, and it doesn't affect XRP's market target. No, because they're all going to play different roles. XRP's biggest role is going to be being a medium for CBDCs, because every single centralized bank, every single institution around the world is going to be on CBDCs, wholesale CBDCs, and somebody has to play the role of being their middleman, XRP. So on those bases, are XLM and XDC working together going to affect XRP's price? No, because who does CBDCs? XRP. You still bullish on ACH as well, Miles? I'm bullish on ACH, yes, but I would say number 1 still XRP, number 2 XLM, number 3 XDC, HBON, and so on, and then ACH is after those. But yes, it's still a great asset. Miles, you shared a list previously of banks, all red incorporations of Ripples, so adoption is no-brainer in my mind. I agree as well. Adoption is no-brainer in my mind as well, and it's going to happen. 2025 is going to be the year we're going to see XRP do movements. So if not 2025, then for sure 2026. No, 2025 is going to be where we're going to be seeing movements for XRP. In my opinion, 2025 is going to be. Look, there's no way they're going to hold the Ripple case back anymore because Gary Gensler's gone now. The whole point of a new SEC chairman is for the stifling to stop. That's the whole point of having a new SEC chairman. The whole point of Gary Gensler, making Gary Gensler resign, Trump publicly announcing he's going to fire him day 1. The whole reason of all of this It's because Gary Gensler is stopping Ripple. It's because Gary Gensler is stopping Coinbase from expanding. Gary Gensler is essentially suing any crypto project to make a profit or a quick buck. That's the whole point of making Gary Gensler resign and replacing him with a new SEC chairman, because we want a pro-crypto movement, which means we can't have a pro-crypto movement happening with a new SEC chairman if he's still continuing Gary Gensler's footsteps, which means there's no point for the XRP case to continue any longer, and it should be dismissed or settled. And this is not just my perspective. This is also a perspective coming in from ex-SEC commissioners, ex-CFTC chairmen, or CFTC commissioners, and so on. They have the exact same opinions, all of them, where every single major crypto case with the SEC under a new SEC chairman will either be dismissed or settled, which means the case getting dismissed or settled is going to happen this year, because there's no point of continuing it forward. The second part, rules and regulations, this is going to be happening the first 100 days of Trump's presidencies, which is we're going to have regulations on the first 100 days. This third part, which is the adoption part, it shouldn't be that slow either, because one, the banks need to move quicker because they're running out of liquidity. Two, governments are running out of liquidity. There's a lot of global economic crisis situations going on. France needs liquidity right now because their real estate economy is going completely down the drain. Germany needs liquidity right now because their economy is going down the drain in terms of the automotive industry. A lot of countries right now need liquidity to survive. And where do you think they're going to get it from? They're going to be borrowing it from each other because they're all broke on the same level. So they need liquidity, in other words. So there's a lot of scenarios of why, once we have the rules and regulations, countries and banks and institutions will move very quickly. So we can have all three pretty much this year. The first two we're definitely going to have. Rules and regulations and essentially the case being dismissed or settled is definitely going to happen. The adoption part could happen a little bit slower in terms of, towards the end of the year, but it's going to be happening either way. But they should move fast because time is running out. They need liquidity. There's a lot of things at play right now. And for the past 5-6 years, they've been coordinating this for it to happen, essentially. Why not best one ACH? Why ACH is not the best one? Because the other assets have more contracts in place and more licenses in place. Hello, CMF. Junos, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? I truly believe the Ripple case is going away. Me too. 2025. This year, Ripple case is gone. Is now any chance of dumps? There's always a chance of dumps. Always expect market manipulation. Miles, many folks in Congress have crypto. That's true. And many have XRP, XLM, XDC, ACH, and HBAR. They are not going to get in their own way of making lots of money, which is also true. Very, very true. Now, on the topic of banks, institutions, regulations, and so on, here is Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley, I've talked about before how they've launched this, trading platform, and they're waiting to, apply some crypto assets into it and so on. Well, we've got to that stage now. And this is me again, talking about how things are going to move very fast on the rules and regulations because they need the money. Morgan Stanley adding crypto to their E-Trade, a new report that came out today from Morgan Stanley itself. Morgan Stanley, one of the world's largest asset managers, is considering adding cryptocurrency trading to its E-Trade online brokerage platform. According to an announcement that came out today, the wealth manager reportedly cited expectations of a friendly crypto regulatory environment under US President Donald Trump. Trump has promised to appoint industry-friendly leaders to key regulatory agencies and make the US the world's crypto capital. The plans would make E-Trade one of the biggest traditional retail brokerages to add support for crypto trading, potentially creating a meaningful competition for platforms such as Coinbase. Morgan Stanley brought their E-Trade in 2020. The brokerage was essentially worth 5.2 million accounts, collectively had approximately $360 billion in information, he said. And other traditional retail brokerages offering crypto trading include Robinhood, Fidelity, and essentially interactive brokers. Charles Schwab's reportedly also plans to add crypto trading this year as well, according to Bloomberg. As you can see, all the institutions are lining up one by one for President Trump to come in, bring the regulations, and for them to all start adapting the idea of integrating crypto assets into traditional finance. Available tokens on these platforms are generally will be more limited on the crypto native centralized exchanges, such as Coinbase. Crypto trading has been lucrative business for online brokerages. Robinhood's Q3 2024 results show that crypto trading volumes and crypto revenues soared up to 112% and 165% year on year, coming into essentially $14.4 billion and $61 million respectively. And in June, Robinhood also agreed to acquire the Bitstamp crypto exchange in a $200 million deal that would enable it to serve institutional investors inside the US. Meanwhile, Coinbase clocked a revenue of $1.2 billion in the third quarter of 2024, primarily from its crypto trading businesses, and Morgan Stanley has been an earlier mover in crypto compared to other traditional wealth managers, and Morgan Stanley authorizes 15,000 financial advisors to start recommending essentially crypto assets, essentially crypto ETFs. A person familiar with the matter told Cointelegraph, and as one of the largest wealth managers in the US, essentially Morgan Stanley's advisory network manages somewhat between $3.75 trillion, including $1 trillion in self-directed client accounts. And Morgan Stanley's advisors have been recommending BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust IBIT and Fidelity's Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund FBTC, and both of which are considered blue chips among Bitcoin ETFs. So on the topic of, institutions moving quickly, it's definitely going to be happening. Already we're seeing signs of institutions lining up, and every one of their reasons, every single institution that's came out and started preparing themselves for a digital world, every single one said, the only reason we're preparing ourselves for a digital world is because Trump's coming into power and he's bringing new administration and is essentially replacing agencies. Gary Gensler, in other words, getting replaced, CFTC chairman getting replaced, Rostam Benham, in other words, and FDIC chairman getting replaced as well. So all the institutions right now are preparing themselves. Once the rules and regulations come through, they're going to fly off the shelves, these crypto assets, legitimate ones. Now, also, let's not forget that the world is going to follow America's footsteps, which means if America aims for the capital hub of the world, the rest of the world is going to follow their footsteps of becoming a capital hub as well, which means not only are we going to get money flowing inside the crypto space towards legitimate assets from American institutions and banks, but we're also going to get money flowing inside the crypto asset space, the legitimate assets, through other jurisdictions around the world as well, because everybody wants to follow America's footsteps. We've even had this time and time again with essentially Latin American countries coming out and saying, we're going to aim to become a capital hub. Why? Because Trump wants to make America the capital hub of cryptocurrencies. South Korea came out and said, we're going to take a pause and wait for Trump to come into power January 20th and see what he does inside the crypto space and follow his exact footsteps. Hong Kong said the exact same thing. China's thinking about bringing rules and regulations. Everybody's getting prepared this year. Everybody's getting prepared for Donald Trump coming in January 20th. Everybody wants to see what regulations Donald Trump puts into place for crypto assets and a Bitcoin reserve or a crypto portfolio reserve or whatever he's going to be doing. But whatever he is going to be doing is all going to be positive for the crypto space, without a doubt. He's replacing agencies, essentially chairmen, to make it a pro-crypto environment. So the amount of money that's going to be flowing in, not just from the US market space, but also the rest of the world, is going to be crazy because everybody's following their footsteps. So as I've said previously before, if you're on legitimate assets right now, the amount of money that's going to be flowing inside the market space this year, after January 20th, slowly, it's going to be incredible. Now, the next news we're going to be talking about tonight's live is relatable to this year as well and beyond, which is Web3 and privacy. The more we go into a digital world, the less privacy you're going to be having, unfortunately. But the positive is you're going to be making a lot of money if you're positioned correctly. But now, before we talk about that, let's go inside the comment section first. As I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it outside the comment section. We're more than happy to answer the questions you may have. So let's see what's going on inside the comment section. And then we go straight into the next news, which is privacy, Web3, and pretty much this year and next year and beyond. Let's see where we were at. We were at, I think, here, yeah. Ginos, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been, Ginos? I truly believe the Republic is going away. Same, I believe that as well. Always accept market turbulence. Miles, many folks in Congress, I read that as well. Okay, I was here. Australian property prices dropped as well, or the lowest in 2 years. So we're having an economic crisis there as well regarding real estate. Thank you, Shelly, for letting me know about that. Miles, do you think XRP still has a chance of dropping again in 2026 if adoption is still not in place? Thank you. Sam, great question. Do I think XRP is, going to drop in price if we don't have adoption by 2026? Then yes, sure. Because adoption is the only thing that's going to help XRP, XLM, and XDC and HBAR and other legitimate crypto assets to not go through a bear market. The only way a crypto project doesn't go through a bear market is if their utility is being adapted and it's being used on a 24/7 basis by banks and institutions worldwide. That is the only way a crypto asset will not experience a bear market in any sort of a way ever again, is when their rules and regulations are in place and that particular crypto asset is being used for their utility. Because if a crypto asset is being used on a 24/7 basis for transaction purposes, in this case, by banks and institutions, then it won't be affected by a bear market because it's not going to affect it in any sort of a way because it's being used 24/7 no matter what. Bear market, bull market, it's being used 24/7 by banks and institutions worldwide, domestic international payments. So if we don't have rules and regulations and adoption by 2026, then yes, it's definitely going to be affecting it's essentially the whole bear market and bull market. It's going to go through the same patterns again. But the chances of that happening is, in my opinion, it's never going to happen. In my opinion, it's going to be rules and regulations this year, next year, and so on. Adoption this year, next year, and so on and so on. So I don't think it's going to be up to 2026 with nothing happening. It can't be. Under the Trump presidency, he'll get things done easily. He should do first 100 days. But Trump does have a lot of things on his table as well. There's a lot of things to solve in America right now. If 3 regulations happens, and this means XRP will be over $100. These 3 things happen. XRP's case gets dismissed or settled. Rules and regulations come into place, and adoption happens. Then the sky's the limit, pretty much. If it gets all these 3 green lights, honestly. A certain influencer is saying that they will stop the ability to DeFi or stake or borrow against your crypto, or we will only get CBDC and fiat. A certain influencer, so Happy Pisces is saying, a certain influencer is saying that they will stop the ability to DeFi or stake or borrow against your crypto, or we will only get CBDC and fiat. Now, the ability scenario is okay. That makes okay. The influencer, the certain influencer that is saying this is wrong. So regarding DeFi space and borrowing against your crypto assets and so on, that's gonna go away in so on in the CBDC world. Never gonna happen. Look, the world. There's 2 types of money spinning inside the world. There's 2 types of money that's spinning inside the world. One side of the money that's spinning inside the world right now is the money on paper, the money that you're seeing, the clean money, the money that you're using for your shopping and paying off your loans and your essentially groceries and so on. That's the clean type of money that's spinning around the world. You buying essentially items as the retail section, or businesses buying items and so on for their own business corporations. That's the clean side of the money of the world. There's also the unclean money that's spinning around the world that's not on paper, and sometimes is because it's been laundered through businesses, for example. So there's clean money and unclean money. That should be basic for everyone. Now, the unclean money is going to be very difficult to put it as clean in the digital world, because assets like, for example, XRP or XLM or XDC and so on, they're going to have mechanisms to be able to stop laundering money, which means the DeFi space is pretty much where the unclean money is going to be spinning. Now, if you're only thinking to yourself, unclean money is, just crooks and, people who do illicit activities, you're wrong. There are countries, there are governments, there are banks, there are institutions that use a lot of unclean money. There's a reason why JP Morgan has been fined about 22 times. One of those times was working with the cartel family members. There's a reason why a bank was essentially recently fined as well, because they were also moving money for illicit activities, willingly knowing about it. So there's 2 types of money that's spinning around the world: clean money and unclean money. Now, the issue with a digital world is it's difficult to put unclean money as clean money on paper. In a world where everybody's got cash and fiat, it's easy to write off unclean money. But in a digital world, it's going to get difficult to write off unclean money. So you need somewhere to put the unclean money. And it can't be centralized exchanges and centralized banks. No, it has to go somewhere. So where does the unclean money go to? DeFi. So on the topic of, is DeFi going to go away in a digital world? No. You know why? Because the same banks that pretend to be the good pretend to be good people and tell you not to commit fraud are the exact ones committing fraud. The institutions that tell you don't commit crimes are the exact ones committing crimes. So they need to wash their money somewhere, in other words. Where are they going to put it? Centralized exchanges? No. Or these blockchain projects? No, because they'll freeze them. They'll freeze their wallets. So instead, they put it through DeFi. So two types of money that's spinning around the world. So in other words, is DeFi going to go away on the rules and regulations and so on and so on? No, DeFi is definitely going to stay where it is, because that's where the unclean money is going to go to. And on the other subject of we will only get CBDCs or fiat. Fiat will essentially be completely gone when CBDCs are fully being used. They did say, every country did say, you know, fiat will work alongside CBDCs. Incorrect. Fiat is not going to be working alongside the CBDCs for too long. They're telling people this so people feel comfortable and don't think that cash is going to get replaced by digital money. In most cases, it is, because we don't even have CBDCs already in a lot of countries. But banks are already closing down. Cash points are disappearing. This has been happening since COVID times until now. Cash points and banks have been closing down one by one. We don't even have CBDCs yet. So the ideology of CBDCs and fiat working alongside together, incorrect. Sooner or later, fiat will be pushed out completely and CBDCs will take the ranks, because they want you to, they want to control you. The whole point of a CBDC is to control you. That's the entire point of a CBDC. So fiat and CBDC is wrong. CBDCs will lead the way eventually. And the DeFi staking and borrowing against your crypto assets is not going to go away in any sort of a way. And nobody's going to be able to stop you inside a DeFi space, because they're also going to be using DeFi space. The people, the higher up seats, the banks that get fined for working with cartel members, the institutions that launder money, they're all going to be inside the DeFi space, also being inside the centralized space. But yeah, Miles, and the only reason that certain influencer, Happy Pisces, told you, or essentially you're watching him say this, is because most people don't realize how the world actually operates. Most people think the world is rainbows and sunshines, and it's only black and white. No, there's a third color nobody sees. Well, the majority of people don't see, which is the same people that tell you to don't do it are the exact same people that are actually doing it. Miles, is it worth adding RLUSD or just continue buying XRP and XLM? No, because the only reason you would need RLUSD is if you need a stablecoin. So if you want to buy RLUSD, it's not an asset, it's a stablecoin. It's not an asset that's going to fluctuate in price in any sort of a way unless there's a bug or some sort of scenario. But XRP and XLM is what you continue buying, not financial advice. But XRP and XLM is what you buy to get profits in and to borrow against. And RLUSD is what you sell towards to hold it as a stable asset. So it's a stablecoin. Welcome back. Hi, Miles and CMF. Golden Dragon, good to see you. How you doing? So Sample, do that. RLUSD is a stablecoin. It's like USDT if you want to go for it. Which I am going to eventually when they start listing RLUSD a lot more exchanges as a stablecoin. Welcome back. Let's go, Golden Dragon. Good to see you. How you doing? So if there is no big adoption by 2026 with XRP, would you be selling some of your XRP due to bear market? No, still not. Because I don't trust those people. I'll be honest with you, no. Miles, do you think maybe Trump might abolish capital gains taxes on crypto assets like the UAE? Now, Trump has had some sort of words coming in about, essentially getting rid of capital gains tax in the US. If he does do it, incredible. If Trump is able to achieve that and essentially, get rid of capital gains tax and go head to head with countries like the UAE or Kuwait or Bahrain or Saudi Arabia in terms of taxing of crypto assets, incredible if Trump is able to achieve that. Is it going to be achieved? That is going to be a very difficult one. He might be able to lower the capital gains tax. He might be able to lower it ridiculously, but getting rid of it completely is going to be quite difficult. But is what I would say. So do I think he's going to be able to abolish the whole capital gains taxes? I'm not going to sit here and tell you, yes, he can definitely do that. That's something that does need a lot of voting. So Congress needs to vote on this matter, essentially. There's a lot of voting and paper processing and pushing paper and so on, documentations for that to be able to happen. Because if he does do that, then America is not going to be able to earn any sort of money from crypto assets. But what I do think he's going to be achieving more of is lowering those taxes a lot. Miles, any thoughts about taking out some profits during the third period? If you want to, it's never a bad idea to take out profits if you want to take out profits. I personally won't be doing that in any sort of a way, taking out profits way too soon. We're just about to go into a new SEC chairman, President Trump, rules and regulations and adoption and so on, case dismissals. There's a lot of things happening in this year. CBDC releases are happening this year as well, coordinately. So there's a lot of things happening this year. So I wouldn't personally be thinking about cashing out anytime soon. But if you do want to take profits, it's never a bad idea to take profits if you want to. If you're always sitting on huge amounts of profits, why not? The banks are notorious for laundering. Yes, they are. Thank you, Miles. This influencer, I feel, is creating FUD as he's sponsored by Caleb and Brown to protect your crypto and fire blocks against quantum hacks. Okay, that makes sense now why he's doing this. Dark Horse is the biggest idiot is what employees said. Let's go, Miles. Scott, let's go as well. Yeah, Blood says, hi, Miles. What is a good business bank that adapts crypto in 2025? HSBC Bank. The business banks that are going to be adapting essentially cryptocurrencies quite faster than any other bank. HSBC Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, Santander Bank. These are banks that are going to be adapting crypto assets a lot more quicker than the rest. Reasons why I know this is because their names are everywhere on the majority of crypto assets inside the financial space. Their names are pretty much everywhere. HSBC is pretty much listed in any sort of blockchain event, blockchain contracting, blockchain licensing, blockchain patents. Same goes with Standard Chartered Bank and Santander Bank and Bank of America, believe it or not. What can you tell me about Viot and has it got a chance for high prices? Viot partnered with IBM in the AI essentially space. Good data space as well. Good project. Could having a partnership with having a partner like IBM backing your project shows promise. To be fairly honest, it's a good project if you want to go towards. I've talked about Viot day one when it essentially opened these stores. And the biggest thing is, IBM backing them. So as long as IBM is backing them and funding them, they're pretty much good to go. Now, Web3. On the topic of, privacy and so on, security reasonings and banks and institutions, here's some perspectives from CEOs and the US House on privacy in 2025. Web3's role in protecting digital rights and privacy going into 2025. Edison Chin, the CEO of Kudus, a Web3 health and wellness company, told Cointelegraph in an interview that decentralized identity solutions, data ownership, and protecting sensitive information will be key objectives for Web3 in 2025. The CEO said that selective disclosures through decentralized identity solutions would give users control over their data and allow them to monetize this data in this process, Chen essentially wrote. He said, historically, big companies have controlled user data, often monetizing it without consent. That's changing. People now want to own their own data and decide how it's shared and monetized. The selective disclosure is a key to maintaining privacy, particularly in healthcare, where confidentiality of medical records is a right and advances in artificial intelligence and threatens to upend this privacy. The CEO told Cointelegraph, and the point perspective, there are many other people. So, for example, David, a former military intelligence professional, White House advisor, and chief strategy officer of the Norris Decentralized Security Protocols, recently warned Cointelegraph of the looming threat to privacy from AI and quantum computing. He also went on to say, who is also Holtzman, who is the author of Privacy Lost, another company. He said how technology is endangering your privacy, said the centralized essentially of data are inherently insecure due to single points of failure. This threat is further amplified by AI systems that can quickly compile data on anyone, such as blockchain transaction data related to an individual or institutions that could be exploited by a threat essentially of actors to target victims with increased precision. They're saying somewhere down the line, AI is going to be used to track your wallets. So essentially, instead of keep on going back to the public chains and trying to see your transactions one by one, they could just tell AI to find your every single transactions you've made on the blockchain. AI will compile them into one list somewhere down the road. And quantum computers, which threatens to break modern encryption standards, are also a threat to financial institutions. Military intelligence, cryptocurrencies, and healthcare, Holtzman said. Thankfully, both of these threats can be mitigated by decentralized blockchain technologies, he added. Decentralizing artificial intelligence creates a human check on otherwise unrestrained AI systems, and quantum resistance cryptography can shield sensitive data from quantum hacks, the Norris executive told Cointelegraph, which is also what I've said in the past. I said, as everybody talks about quantum computing and how it's going to be a massive threat to crypto assets, I said, first of all, quantum computing can be used to help and advance crypto assets. Essentially, it could be advanced. Essentially, it could be used to advance blockchain for the security purposes or mining purposes when it comes to Bitcoin. But I also did say that quantum computing, in other words, as quantum computing is getting better and stronger and faster and more secure and so on, at the same time, for example, the XRP ledger or the XLM chain or whatever is also being upgraded for their security purposes. So as we're seeing quantum computing chips getting better and better, we're also going to be seeing blockchain getting more secure and more secure. So it's not going to really be able to hack, essentially. Quantum computing is not going to be able to essentially compromise blockchain in sort of a way. It's not like blockchain standing still and quantum computing chips are just being popped out better and better. At the same time, blockchain is also being maintained for their security purposes. Same thing that's been mentioned by a White House representative. And Tether CEO also argued that localizing AI models was the only way to ensure user privacy and independence from corporate control and protect against hacks of centralized servers. The Tether CEO wrote that the current generation of smartphones and laptops were more often and powerful enough to run custom-tailored AI solutions directly on those devices, sidestepping the need to rely on large centralized companies and servers, which is also true as well. Now, moving away essentially from the privacy scenarios, because to be fairly honest, honestly, the more we go into a digital world, the less privacy you're going to be having. That's pretty much guaranteed in any sort of a way. The best way to have the best life in a digital world is if you position yourselves now correctly and not chase essentially random projects like, you know, meme coins and so on. But if you focus and, you know, essentially put your head down and study and realize how the world is shifting, where banks and institutional money is going to go towards, what crypto projects are going to benefit the most, of rules and regulations in place and so on. If you focus on all those factors, you'll come to a conclusion of financial projects pretty much being the number one role. How XRP, XLM, XDC, and HBOR are going to play the biggest role inside the digital world. And crypto influencers will tell you otherwise. People inside the crypto space might tell you otherwise as well. But this is the reason why they say the truth hurts. Because nobody likes hearing it. Honestly, XRP, XLM, XDC, HBOR will be playing a massive role. A massive role. And some people don't like hearing that. But again, this is why they say the truth hurts. Because they don't like hearing it. Now, moving on essentially from the truth hurts to Elon Musk. Elon Musk prepares X for a bold new payment system. Now, we've known for the longest time that X is going to become an everything app. We've also known that he's, you know, half of the world's payments are going to go through X, is what Elon Musk said. And I do believe Elon Musk is one man that's definitely going to be achieving this. If anybody can achieve it, it's Elon Musk. He's intelligent enough and he's wealthy enough to make anything happen. Now, Elon Musk has obviously slowed down a bit towards his plan of, you know, everything app, because we were under a Biden administration, which we still are technically until January 20th. But after January 20th, Elon Musk is playing a good role inside the US government as an advisor, and Trump is the president, which means X payments could become an actual thing, and which also means that X will get their licensing much more easier to become an everything app for half the world's payments to go through them. And people are essentially moving to X. They are flocking towards X. News channels are losing viewers because of X, which is a good thing, to be fairly honest, because news channels are as realistic as Hollywood movies, to be fairly honest. So here it is. X, one of the world's most active social media platforms, continues to grow every day after Elon Musk's acquisition of the social media giant. Discussions about its future have intensified. Musk has a vision, having purchased the domain X over the 20 years for this purpose. Musk aims to transform X, formerly known as Twitter, into an everything app. Even during the early discussions of Elon Musk's acquisition, there were essentially mentions of it evolving into a something like WeChat. With prospects of Trump winning the elections, Musk is more determined than ever to create a social media giant that includes payment services along essentially many features. According to users essentially on X payment services will soon be operational. Despite not having obtained licenses from all 50 states in America, Musk has been pushing ahead with the launch. Having already secured payment service licensing in several major states, he aims to integrate in-app payments in the platform without further delay. While cryptocurrencies will cryptocurrencies be included? Is pretty much the biggest answer. Now, for now, not likely, at least not while President Biden maintains a strong pressure on crypto regulations. However, if Trump's administration alleviates the regulatory burdens, which they're going to be doing with a new SEC chairman, new CFTC chairman, and so on, and they're all pro-crypto, the scenario may shift. Imagine a scenario where users can directly purchase popular meme coins within the app or any sort of crypto assets, a possibility that Musk could easily implement. So it's basically saying, imagine X not only becomes a social media platform, but also becomes a crypto trading platform. It is a possibility. It is Elon Musk. He's going to have a very high seat in the American government as an advisor. He's working alongside Trump. He could get licensing quite easily. And one day we could pretty much see X become a trading platform of crypto assets. Considering the potential enormous profits from transaction fees, Musk is likely motivated to pursue this avenue. With crypto ETFs already entering the US stock markets, the launch of payment services at X could just be around the corner. And I do believe that is going to be happening. Honestly, regarding Elon Musk and so on, making X into everything up and the correct licensing, crypto payments, and maybe even becoming a trading platform. Now, we do know it's going to aim for a WeChat similarity. Now, WeChat being, a everything app in China, where if you want to get an Uber, you basically do it for WeChat. If you want to, book a restaurant, WeChat, contact your friends, WeChat, video call, WeChat, pay for stuff, WeChat. That's basically what WeChat is in China. An equivalent would be an everything app of X. But having a trading platform, crypto trading platform, is that a possibility as well? We never know. It is Elon Musk. As I said, if there was one man to be able to do anything and achieve anything, it's Elon Musk. He's intelligent enough and he's wealthy enough. He can pretty much get anything done. So let's see as time goes by on that whole scenario. Now, odds of essentially 2025 in terms of ETFs. What's the odds looking like? Before we go through that, let's go start a conversation first. And this is a perspective coming in from Van X Research Head. Van X Research Head has came out and talked about the probabilities of a particular essentially ETF and other ETFs happening in 2025. What's the probability? Is it a yes? Is it a no? But before we go through that, let's go start a conversation first. As I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it down in the comment section. I'd be more than happy to answer the questions you may have. So here it is. Okay, we were here. Opinions on upcoming ACH Layer 1 blockchain Elimichi chain. Regarding Elimichi chain as a Layer 1 blockchain, I talked about it previously when they first announced it. I think it's a great idea for Elimichi chain to, as a Layer 1 project. Great idea. Moving away slowly from Ethereum, even better because the fees are too high and it's a bit slow. I think it's amazing what they're trying to do. Honestly, they stick to that. They continue forward with that. It's going to become an incredible project. Opinion on sorry, I'm late, but regarding buying BTC for gold, why don't they just print some fiat? Because they need some sort of a backing, is what they're trying to say. But Vibe, good to see you. How you doing? Miles, what about AI projects? Do you think we should look at some projects and real-world asset projects? Okay, great question. Regarding AI projects, you could do. Regarding crypto AI projects, but one thing you should know, the best, and I mean the best AI projects out there are technically not blockchain AI projects. Okay, and what I mean by that is startup companies. So startup blockchain companies. Sorry, startup AI companies. The majority of them that are being funded through VC companies, there's a lot of venture capitalist money coming towards AI projects, and the majority of them are not really blockchain projects. They're just AI projects that are startup companies. One of them in particular has been funded billions of dollars, and it's a French company, an AI company, for example, who hasn't went public yet. So if you want to be inside the AI space, you might want to stick to startup companies that haven't went public yet. So you could be the first one through the door before they go public. There's a multitude of AI startup companies that are being funded 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, even billions of dollars of seed money right now. There's so much money being flowing into AI projects, but they're all AI projects rather than AI blockchain projects. Now, on the topic of essentially real-world asset projects, great question as well. Should we be looking into real-world asset projects essentially out there? So there is a couple essentially real-world asset projects off the top of my head that I know of, but here's what I would say. There's a lot of crypto projects that claim that they do essentially real-world assets, and one of them is properly or something. It was what it's called or something. But here's one thing you should know: XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, NEAR, AVAX, all these crypto projects that I'm naming, and there's a lot more. These are legitimate, well-established crypto projects who are all capable of real-world assets. Some are getting to where they need to be able to offer real-world assets. Some already have the capabilities of real-world assets. So, of tokenizations and so on. What I would say is, if you want to aim for tokenization, you can just aim for the XRP ledger. You can also aim for the AVAX chain. What I'm trying to say is, look, what these crypto projects bring to the table is a multitude of things. XRP brings payments to the table for CBDCs. It brings payments to the table for stablecoins. It brings tokenization to the table as well. It brings so much to the table that you don't really need to look outside the scope. AVAX does the exact same thing. HBAR does the exact same thing. XM does the exact same thing. XDC does the exact same thing. They're bringing a lot of things to the table. They're not just bringing payments. They're bringing tokenization to the table as well, which is just another avenue stream, and it's basically something underneath it. Chainlink also bringing to the table as well. So what I'm trying to say is, you don't need to aim for these only specific crypto projects that do tokenization. You don't need to, because if you go for an asset like XRP, it's bringing tokenization to the table. It's bringing a medium for payments for CBDCs to the table. It's bringing essentially payments as a medium for stablecoins to the table. If you go for AVAX, it's bringing the same thing to the table. If you go for XLM, same thing to the table. So you don't need to be aiming for these only real-world asset projects, because there's no point. Because these other crypto projects already have the licensings, they have the reputation, they have the contracts in place, they work with major institutions, they're working with banks, they already bring a lot to the table. So what would you rather be in? A crypto project that offers tokenizations, that offers a medium for payments for CBDCs and stablecoins, or would you aim just for a crypto project that only aims for tokenization, has no licensings, promises a big future, and no contracts in place? So if you were in a project like essentially XRP, XRP, XDC, and so on, you're already in tokenization, you just don't know it yet. That would be awesome to see X become a crypto platform. Respect for Elon for sure, though. Yeah, definitely. Miles, do you think we should still look into Ton and Not and Chainlink? Chainlink, good project, is what I would say. Definitely good project. If you want to look into it, why not? 100% is a great project. Good project. Ton, great project. In the DeFi space, Ton is going to become incredible. Telegram will become a competitor to X somewhere down the line. To be fairly honest, I mean, Telegram has a multitude of users going on as well. But obviously, Elon Musk just has the edge over essentially Telegram and so on. But Ton will become an incredible asset somewhere down the line as well, without a doubt. And Chainlink, great. Ton, great. Not as a meme coin. So it's very, very, very incredibly volatile. So I wouldn't really be aiming for Not, is what I would say. Extremely volatile. But Ton, great. Chainlink, great. You can't go wrong with them. But still aim for the financial projects. Hi, Miles. Happy New Year. Millie, good to see you as well. How you doing? Happy New Year to you as well. Now, man, you could sell a Cybertruck to my grandmother and take her for a ride. So much energy. Thank you for Thank you for the kind words. Kind words. Oh, thank you. Now, ETF. Are we going to get ETFs happening? Odds of a 2025 US Solana ETF listing. A perspective coming out from VanEck's research head. The odds of a Solana ETF listing inside the United States this year are even higher than a popular betting market's optimistic forecast. According to Matthew, who is VanEck's head of research, he said cryptocurrency predictions platform Polymarket said that the odds of a US Solana ETF listing in 2025 are around 77%. In a post, Matthew said it's underpriced. Matthew's optimism mirrors essentially industry-wide expectations of more crypto ETF listings in the US after Trump comes into power. A pro-crypto Trump, he said, wants to make America the world's crypto capital. So expect a lot more just essentially than a Solana ETF. Prediction markets work by letting users trade contracts tied essentially to specific events, with prices fluctuating dynamically based on expected outcomes. Polymarket's projected ETF listing odds increased to approximately 84% now. VanEck and rival asset managers 21 Shares sought permissions from US regulators to list essentially spot Solana ETFs. The US SEC reportedly challenged the asset manager's plans, citing concerns of Solana in terms of qualified as a security rather than a commodity. Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, the only two types of cryptocurrency ETFs so far permitted to trade on US exchanges, typically essentially designed for funds that passively hold a single type of essentially commodity. Issuers say success may hinge on whether proposed Solana ETFs can conform to a similar structure. Industry analysts see Trump's presidential win as a green light for more than essentially half a dozen proposed by crypto ETFs, waiting on regulatory approvals to list inside the US. And shortly after Trump's victory in the US presidential race, Matthew, the head of research at essentially at VanEck, reportedly said that the odds of US greenlighting a Solana ETF in 2025 are now even higher. Polymarket is the most popular cryptocurrency betting platform, clocking in nearly $2 billion in trading volume in December alone, according to data from June analysts. During the US elections in November, betting platforms proved to be more accurate than traditional polling, and forecasting not only Trump's win, but also his party's sweep of the US House and Senate. Bettors are now wagering that 2025 will be the banner year for cryptocurrency market space, with Bitcoin and Ethereum hitting all-time highs and several new types of crypto ETF listings in the US. I agree 100%. Look, as I previously now said again, 2025 is going to be, this year is going to be an incredible year. The moment Trump takes his seat, a lot of change is going to be happening, especially for the crypto space, which means more money is going to be entering the crypto space. Just as we get closer to January 20th, we should be seeing that excitement even happening more inside the market space, inside the crypto space. The excitement will definitely be there for Trump to take his seat January 20th, because January 20th is not only the day Donald Trump takes his seat, but January 20th is also the day finally Gary Gensler resigns. So there's two things to be happy about on January 20th. One, Trump becoming president and taking his seat in January 20th. And two, Gary Gensler resigning on January 20th. And just that should be the excitement for the market space to be showing itself and getting more positive as we get close to January 20th. But even when we go beyond January 20th, the rules and regulations, new SEC chairman, new CFTC chairman, institutions and banks, no more gray areas, more money entering, America becomes the capital of cryptocurrencies, ETFs happening with the world market space following their footsteps, more money, more money, more money. Very simple way to put it. Now, moving on essentially from VanEck's perspective, the head of research from VanEck, to BBVA. BBVA launches inside the crypto space, which is, by the way, one of Turkey's biggest, essentially, banks. One of Turkey's biggest banks is entering the crypto space, but they're entering it in an interesting way. They're following the footsteps of the MiCA rules and regulations. So here it is, BBVA, part of the BBVA crypto, part of the BBVA group, has chosen Bit2Me, a leader in cryptocurrency solutions, to become its execution center for crypto assets. for buy and sell orders of their clients. This strict collaboration marks a significant milestone in the adoption of cryptocurrencies within one of the world's most dynamic market spaces. Turkey ranks as the third largest crypto market space globally, and AAA data underscores the growing demand for secure and regulated digital asset platforms, with a population exceeding essentially 85 million. The partnership between BBVA and crypto and Bit2Me lays on the foundation for mass adoption of crypto assets, leveraging the trust and credibility of global banking leaders combined with Bit2Me's technological expertise. The collaboration comes at a pivotal time, and following implementations of the Markets in Crypto's Asset Regulations (MICA) in the European Union. MICA creates a robust legal framework for cryptocurrencies, enabling essentially traditional financial institutions to enter the digital asset space confidently. The banking sector increasingly turning to cryptocurrencies as a means to monetize their customer base and compete with challengers. With over a decade of experience, Bit2Me stands out for its commitments to compliance and regulatory alignments, to the factor that was instrumental to the BBVA's decision to choose Bit2Me as a strategic partner. According to essentially Lee Frey, the co-founder and CEO of Bit2Me, he said, in his own words, the CEO of this company that's working with this bank in Turkey right now, who are under the MIC rules and regulations, said, 2025, in other words, this year, marks the starting gun for banks to offer crypto services. Thanks to our API-driven transformation of our infrastructure, Bit2Me not only serves over 1 million retail users, but also boosts a client base of more than 6,000 companies. Additionally, we are collaborating with over 50 financial institutions to help them launch their crypto products this year. CEO's words that this year is pretty much institutional banking space, money entering from that side. And all banks this year will be offering crypto services. Global, Alia, managing director of the bank solution at Bit2Me, explained, Bit2Me's collaboration with BBVA Crypto represents a groundbreaking step in bridging traditional banking and digital assets, paving the way for a mass adoption in Turkey, the world's third largest crypto market space. This partnership underscores the transformative potential of regulated cryptocurrency solutions post-MICA. The CSO of Bit2Me emphasized the transformative role of traditional banking, and he said, in the coming years, banks worldwide will play a key role in normalizing access to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. By embracing this shift, financial institutions ensure Bitcoin's growth becomes unstoppable, proving that technology knows no boundaries. By entering the Turkish market space, one of the most promising crypto economies globally, Bit2Me and BBVA Bank aim to empower millions of users to access secure, regulated, and user-friendly leaders in the digital financial space. And the role of partnerships between traditional banking institutions and established cryptocurrency providers like Bit2Me. Now, what's interesting is they're following the footsteps of the MICA rules and regulations. What did the MICA do? Delist USDT. Is this an indication that Turkey might be thinking about delisting essentially USDT as well, the third largest crypto space in the world? Time will tell. But what I'm essentially mostly focused on is the part where they mention valid information regarding 2025 is all about regulations, banks and institutional money entering the crypto space, and banks and institutions being a part of the crypto space worldwide, which is all true. As I said previously, money, money, money. It's going to be a great year. Now, let's talk about essentially China. Something that's never happened pretty much. It has happened maybe here and there, but not on this scale, is what I would say. Which is China announcing that they're sanctioning 28 US companies. Now, typically it's the other way around. It's when the US will sanction countries or banks or institutions in different jurisdictions. But it seems that the tables have turned, and China has announced that they are going to sanction 28 US companies instead. Not the US sanctioning, it's China sanctioning. Now, what's interesting also is that China and Russia say that they hate when the US sanctions companies or countries, but China is sanctioning US companies now. The whole point, by the way, of BRICS was that the whole sanctioning thing will come to an end where no country should have the power to sanction the countries because sanctioning is wrong. Apparently, China is going against their own words and sanctioning 28 US companies. So just before Trump takes his office seat, China has developed means to fight back. The nation has essentially prohibited the export of dual use case products to 28 US defense contractors and classified 10 of them as unreliable entities. Now, ironically, the list of companies that China has sanctioned are all the companies that's helping Taiwan. The list includes General Dynamics, Boeing Defense, Space and Security, Lockheed Martin Corporations, and Raytheon Missiles and Defense, and the list just goes on. Today, Beijing's Ministry of Commerce said, to safeguard national security and interest and fulfill international obligations, including non-essential profession, the latest action was taken based on China's export control of laws and regulations on export controls of dual-use items. Additionally, the spokesperson added that Beijing has always handled the unreliable entity list issue, targeting only a small number, essentially, of foreign entities that endanger China's national security. The ministry added honest and law-abiding foreign entities have nothing to worry about. Still, is China just responding to Trump's threats and has decided to fight first? Can these two nations really do without one another? According to a separate Commerce Ministry statement, 10 of the defense contractors were also included in Beijing's unreliable entities list due to weapon sales to Taiwan. This, in addition to the defense and aerospace firms, were included in the sanctions list issued by Beijing's foreign ministry late this year. This was also essentially in reaction to persistent US arms shipments to Taiwan. Beijing considers Taiwan to be a part of the country, which can be unified through force if required. China saying basically, if we want Taiwan, we'll take Taiwan. Most countries, including the United States, do not acknowledge the self-governed island as a sovereign state. However, Washington opposes any attempt to capture Taiwan by force and is essentially constitutionally obligated to provide it with weaponry. The list includes 5 subsidiaries of Lockheed Martin and 3 of the General Dynamics and missile company systems, and a joint venture between Lockheed Martins. This means that these enterprises are banned from engaging in mainland China, related to imports and exports and essentially activities, as well as making new investments in the nation. Their senior executives are also banned from entering China. Also, their Chinese workers or resident permits will be rejected or cancelled. The ministry said the so-called military technology corporation seriously undermines China's national sovereignty and territorial integrity and violates the One China principle and provisions of free joint between China, the US, and significantly threatens peace and stability in Taiwan's strait. Notably, the US President Joe Biden, or as some people know him, Sleepy Joe, essentially agreed to provide $571.3 million in defense to support Taiwan. So once again, US taxpayers' money going towards another random country, which has no benefit for you. And the ministry spokesperson responded that the actions interfere in China's essentially internal affairs and undermine China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Beijing has taken a more confidential, essentially, attitude as it prepares for a second presidential term for Donald Trump to come in. He is a vocal opponent of China and its economic might. For instance, Chinese regulators have investigated Nevada as an American computer processing company. Additionally, the export of rare minerals to the United States has been prohibited. Individual companies have also been targeted to reveal their supply chain vulnerabilities. And the measures are essentially offer a component of an economic tit-for-tat that has intensified in recent months. It commenced during Trump's interim term following his implementation of trade restrictions and tariffs against Asian countries. Beijing's response to retaliation are symbolic and measured at that time. Since then, the Biden administration has imposed essential provisions on dual-use products and expanded its restrictions on Chinese companies. Recently, it has targeted 140 Chinese companies. So China sanctioning 28 US companies. America's thinking about sanctioning 140 Chinese companies. However, in recent years, the country has established the legal framework to replicate Washington's strategies and establish sanctions and blacklists that can deny American companies access to essential resources. Beijing is currently demonstrating a greater willingness to take action as a response to Trump's harsh tariffs. During his presidential campaigns, Trump said that he would impose tariffs of 60% or more on goods coming from China. That's what's good is about. Okay. Here's what I would say in the relevance of this to the crypto market space. So China and Taiwan and US headbutting each other is going to be bad, obviously, for the market space. That's a given. It's going to be bad for the crypto market space, the stock market space, in general for the world market space. So we don't want China and Taiwan and the US, headbutting each other. That's the last thing we want. So, but also Joe Biden, as always, meddling and giving out US taxpayers' money to Taiwan is not really going to be solving the issue. The other argument is that if we don't have countries like the US stepping in, then China and Russia, believe it or not, will take everything. Honestly, if there was no such thing as the US, for example, if there was no such thing as the US, China would have pretty much taken half the world. They will take anything they want. Now, when you have a country like the US and a strong president like Trump, it's difficult for countries like China just to turn up on anybody's doorstep and take the country. So there's the argument of, should the US intervene? Now, the way Trump is intervening makes a lot more sense than the way Biden intervenes. Sleepy Joe just throws money at any problem. That's what Sleepy Joe does. Sleepy Joe will just throw money at any problem. Ukraine and Russia going head to head. Sleepy Joe will throw billions of dollars into Ukraine and say, you handle it. Taiwan is about to go head to head with China. Sleepy Joe will give millions of dollars to Taiwan and say, you handle it, which is a stupid idea. Because all it does is just continue a war for 5 years before anybody loses or wins, or just keeps on continuing on for 10 years, which is a stupid way to do it. Trump's way is tariffs. Now, China is the biggest import and export pretty much around the world. They create everything and develop everything and ship it all around the world. If the US tariffs China, China will learn its lesson not to take whatever country it wants. That is a better idea than giving millions of dollars to Taiwan. 10 times better idea. Because Sleepy Joe and Biden administration, all they've been doing is wasting US taxpayers' money by giving it to this country and that country and saying, defend yourself. But Trump, better idea. Instead, Trump goes, we're going to put high tariffs on China. And if China doesn't behave themselves, we're going to increase the tariffs. And if China still doesn't behave themselves, then we're going to get every country to do the exact same thing. Where the UK, the EU, all these Western countries will follow Trump's footsteps and put high tariffs on China, which will make China have no option but to behave themselves. That is a better idea. Because as long as, NBC or CBN or whatever, The View, whatever news channel there is that's just feeding people BS, tariffs are actually a good thing. It makes countries like China behave themselves and not just go around take whatever they want. So I believe in the whole tariff situation. Trump is going to be able to fix that. And by putting tariffs on China, it stops the war. Trump puts tariffs on China, it will stop the war. Stopping the war will be good for the market space. That's how it correlates back to the market space. So China and Taiwan and the US headbutting each other, not good. This is all happening on the Biden's watch. But Trump putting tariffs on China will stop the war, which means the market space won't be affected. So no wars under Trump's administration. And no wars means the market will be in a good place, which means the crypto market can continue being bullish and going higher and higher under rules and regulations. Banks institutions coming in, America aiming for the capital of the cryptocurrencies, and the rest of the world following its this. So that's what we want, and that's what Trump is going to make happen. Unlike Biden's administration, which just keeps on throwing billions of dollars into random countries. Now, XD, let's go to the comment section first before we go through the next news. So far, we're still looking good. 2025 is still going to be an amazing year, and China and Taiwan war is never going to start because tariffs are going to put China under pressure. XDC, XFIN, okay. Got China's based. Will Trump want a similar space project? Maybe. But all 3 quarters for the Bank of International through the Bank of International Settlements, which is basically XDC. So is Tangent definitely secure now, Miles? Yes, Tangent is definitely secure now. Sleepy Joe works for China and Russia. Sleepy Joe works. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, because the Biden administration are traitors. Honestly, in my opinion, the Biden administration are the biggest traitors to the American people. Now, moving on essentially from Biden being a traitor and the market space still being okay, moving forward essentially in 2025 on the Trump presidency, I did say Biden's circus freaks, the Biden administration, these circus freaks, could potentially start a war until now, till January 20th, I've been saying. And they're really pushing it. I'll be honest. They're pushing Putin to start a bigger war. They're pushing China to start a bigger war. So just counting the days until Trump comes in, basically, and puts this whole situation to rest. Now, Tether is what we're talking about next. Tether's USDT has been facing its sharpest market drop in 2 years. This is relatable to XRP. In other words, this is relatable to MiCA regulations. Tether's USDT, the largest dollar-pegged stablecoin in the world, has suffered a setback. Over the past week, its market value dropped by more than 1%, marking the biggest decline in 2 years. The sharp dip has raised essentially concerns about the stability of broader crypto market spaces, which has been fueled by regulatory changes and sweeping across Europe. USDT's market cap fell to essentially $137.24 billion in mid-December after reaching a record high of $140.72 billion. This drop is similar to the aftermath of the FTX exchange crash in November 2022. The decline has tied to a major European exchanges and Coinbase removing USDT from their platforms. These crypto firms cited compliance issues with the European Union's new markets and crypto assets and MiCA regulations, and these regulations come into full effect, which they already have. They require stablecoin issuers to have MiCA licensing to offer trade tokens in the EU, and the regulations define 2 main types of tokens: asset reference tokens and e-money tokens. USDT pegged to US dollar falls under the EMT category. It means that this stablecoin must comply with new rules to continue trading on centralized exchanges in the EU. The delisting of USDT from MiCA compliant exchanges in the EU has sparked fears of wider downtrends in the crypto market space, and this could trigger a significant ripple effect. Interesting use of word there. Reducing liquidity and across essentially access to the stablecoin to European traders. However, some analysts argue that these concerns might be exaggerated. For example, Karen Tang, the head of APAC partnerships at Orderly Network, pointed out that the EU is not the largest crypto market space. She stated that the most crypto trading volume happens in Asia and the US, where the USDT is mainly used and accessible. They're trying to say the EU essentially delisting USDT is not a big deal. And in reality, it is. According to Tang, this regulation may stifle digital asset innovation in the EU, but it's more unlikely to affect USDT's dominance globally. It's interesting that people like Tang are getting paid to come out to speak about USDT in a positive way, because people like Tang aren't aware of the data. The data does suggest that we've already seen a drop in USDT. So is MiCA, not really affecting USDT? Nope, it is affecting it because we've already seen the drops happen in USDT. While MiCA regulations may challenge USDT's position in the EU, the broader outlook remains positive. Not really. USDT's dominance in markets like Asia and US continues. This suggests that the stablecoin will remain a key player in the global cryptocurrency landscape. No, it won't. USDT will not be playing a big role as a stablecoin in 2025, 2026, 2027, and beyond. As we go further and further inside of a digital world, USDT will be playing a much more smaller role and a smaller role and a smaller role, and eventually disappear. What will be taking its place is stablecoins that the US can control. What stablecoins can the US control? USDC. What other stablecoins can the US control? RLUSD. What stable coins can the US not control? USDT. You see why USDT is disappearing? But also, USDT doesn't have backings, to be fairly honest. Tether is definitely lying about their backings, in my own personal opinion. They just don't want to show it to the EU, which raises alarms already, to be fairly honest. Now, moving on essentially from USDT and talking about something that has relevance to USDT losing dominance and another thing taking its presence. XRP. Ripple and XRP lead the charge in the UAE's banking and blockchain-powered evolution. This came out today from the UAE. The United Arab Emirates, the UAE, is positioning itself as a global frontrunner for cryptocurrency adoptions and blockchain technology, according to Reese Merrick, Ripple's representative. The country's regulatory framework from essentially and governmental support are transforming its financial crypto market space. One of the UAE's most impactful developments is the progress with stablecoins. These cryptocurrencies tied to fiat currencies are increasingly integrated into the financial systems to enhance transaction speed, security, and accessibility. The introduction of dirham-backed stablecoins and the establishment of frameworks for the foreign stablecoins are reshaping cross-border payments, drastically reducing costs and essentially processing times. Looking back on the milestone year for the crypto and ahead to 2025, Ripple remains committed to advocating the digital assets ecosystem across the Middle East and Africa, said Reese, who's a representative from Ripple. He also went on to say stablecoins are also redefining remittance systems across Middle East and North Africa regions. The announcements are enabling faster, more efficient money transfers, strengthening financial connections between the Middle East and South Asia and Africa. He said stablecoins as legal tenders. It's happening in the UAE. Dirham-backed coins and essentially frameworks for foreign stablecoins are creating a safer, faster, and a more essentially inexclusive financial system. The United Arab Emirates, UAE, is prioritizing the security of digital assets to bolster institutional trust as cryptocurrency becomes more prominent. The nation has established regulatory frameworks that ensures the safekeeping of these assets, which is essential for broader institutional engagements and the integration of blockchain technology into established financial systems. In the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC countries, the process of asset tokenization is transforming financial landscapes. This process involves converting traditional assets like bonds and essentially SUIC into digital tokens on blockchain platforms, thereby enhancing essentially their liquidity and accessibility. By the year 2025, it is anticipated that blockchain technology will be widely implemented within the banking sector. Again, I read you the perspective coming in from essentially U.S. House representatives and so on, and also other CEOs talking about how 2025 is going to be the year. I talked about the Turkish bank, one of the Turkey's largest banks, talking about how the world in 2025 is going to be transforming a lot, and it's going to be about crypto and banking, institution about banking. Again, this is a representative from Ripple sharing the same perspective. By the year 2025, which we're in right now, it is anticipated that blockchain technology will be widely implemented within the banking sectors of the Middle East and North Africa. Leading this transformation are the United Arab Emirates, the Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Morocco, which are actively incorporating advanced payment systems, tokenized assets, and stablecoins into their financial infrastructures. This year, under Trump's presidency, is all going to be about rules and regulations and adoption. This is why I say this is pretty much the year you're going to be seeing XRP showing you signs this year. On the topic of XRP, XRP starts 2025 with a bang. Will the rally continue? As 2025 begins, XRP, the native token of Ripple, has started on a strong note with impressive performance. However, some question whether this performance is driven by bullish price action or a shift inside the market sentiment. You might be wondering to yourself, since the New Year's has started, since we've moved into this year, in January, we're pretty much the 3rd of January right now, XRP started boosting upwards. Why? What's the reason why XRP is boosting upwards? Well, the reasoning of why XRP is boosting upwards is this. Data from on-chain analytics firms, CryptoQuant, reveals a significant decline in XRP reserves on exchanges. What that indicates is that there's a massive amount of people taking their XRP off exchanges as we went into this year, which means a lot of people are not selling their XRPs. As we went into essentially 2025, a multitude of people started taking off their XRPs from exchanges and keeping them in wallets. What does this mean? It indicates that the whales and long-term holders have withdrawn their XRP tokens from exchanges before the rally began, suggesting a significant accumulation of XRP. According to CryptoCon's data, whales have been withdrawing 20 million XRP tokens from Binance, causing the exchange's reserves to drop from 2.94 billion to 2.92 billion in the past 7 days. Additionally, the exchange has witnessed a significant outflow of 519.82 million XRP tokens. This significant is the extent of accumulation by long-term holders during the same period. These on-chain metrics explain that the other factors behind XRP's recent rally. This data also is limited to Binance, which hosts the majority of crypto users compared to other exchanges. Beyond centralized exchanges, the volume on decentralized exchanges appears to be continuously rising, which is also a positive sign for XRP holders. Currently, XRP is trading near $2.40, having experienced a price surge of over 4.65% in the past 24 hours. During this period, the notable price rally and breakout have led to a surge in participation from traders and investors, resulting in a 35% increase in trading volume. According to experts and technical analysis, XRP appears bullish after breaking out from a flag and a pole price action pattern, although it currently seems to be retesting the breakout levels. Based on recent essentially price actions and historic momentums, if XRP maintains support above $2.30 mark, it could rally by 80% to reach $4.40 levels essentially. And the combination of a bullish essentially on-chain metrics of growing DEX volumes and strong technical and patterns of positive XRP as a promising investment for 2025 this year. Look, this year is going to be an incredible year, but this incredible year is going to start after January 20th, unfortunately, but we're not that far off anyways. We're 3 days in. January 20th is not that far off. Trump taking his seat. Gary Gensler resigns January 20th. Trump takes his seat January 20th. First 100 days rules and regulations, banks, institutional money. And we've heard it from Ripple representatives. A Ripple representative is just talking about how this year is all about banks, institutional money, and regulations. We've heard SEC commissioners, ex-commissioners, CFTC ex-essentially commissioners, CFTC chairman commissioners, ex-commissioners, and so on. They've all talked, CEOs, executive board members, House representatives, Ripple representatives, everyone. Everyone is talking about how this year is all about regulations and banks, institutional money. And who's going to lead in banks, institutional money, and the regulations? XRP. It's going to be an incredible year. Honestly, incredible year. America aimed for that, essentially hub of cryptocurrencies, the world following its footsteps. So much money is going to be entering inside the market space this year. You're going to be losing count. And so much money is going to be entering the market space next year, and the year after that, and the year after that. Under Trump's presidency, the amount of money everybody's going to be making, if you're positioned correctly inside the market space, is crazy. Absolutely crazy amount of money you're going to be making. Now, all good things must come to an end, which they have already now. This was the endings of tonight's live. And on tonight's live, we talked about essentially XRP's price. If you're wondering to yourself essentially why XRP was moving, is because a lot of XRP is being withdrawn from exchanges. And people can see these datas. When you see XRP is being withdrawn at a high level from exchanges, it's an indication that people aren't going to be selling their XRP going to 2025. And instead, people want to buy more XRP going to 2025, which makes the price of XRP go up. So if you're wondering why did XRP shoot up the moment we went into 2025, it's because the data was there to show it, that nobody wants to sell their XRP. Everybody just wants to buy more. Because 2025 is the year for XRP. I said inside the Telegram group of this live that this year is the CMF year, but also it's the XRP year. And on tonight's live, we talked about essentially XRP starting the 2025 with a bang and the reasoning why I started with a bang. Then we talked about essentially Ripple and XRP leading the charge in the UAE's blockchain, essentially in terms of payments, the banking systems, and a Ripple representative perspective. Then we talked about Tether and essentially USDT. Then we talked about on tonight's live regarding the matters of China essentially announcing economic sanctions on the US companies. We talked about the systematic shift, essentially. We talked about on tonight's live also regarding one of Turkey's largest banks entering the crypto space, following the footsteps of the MiCA rules and regulations. We talked about the odds of a Solana ETF or ETFs in general, perspective coming in from Van X, head of research. We also went through Elon Musk preparing for X for a bold payment service. We talked about on tonight's live regarding Web3 in terms of privacy issues and protecting your privacy in a digital world in 2025. We also talked about on tonight's live regarding the matters of Morgan Stanley in terms of adding crypto to their services. We also went through news topics on tonight's live regarding Switzerland in terms of their federal voting for Bitcoin. We also talked about how the US might be selling off their gold reserves to buy digital gold. So those were the topics we talked about on tonight's live. This was episode 303 of the CMF Live, by the way, which is incredible that we're on episode 303 of the CMF Live, episode 303. If you're watching this for the first time ever, this was the CMF Live. It stands for Crypto Miles Family. My name is Miles. I go by the persona of Crypto Miles, and I'm your host, as I am Monday to Friday, every single night, 11:25 p.m. UK time onwards. And on this live, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital space. And the disclaimer of this live, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and what advice is only for entertainment purposes. And if you haven't joined already, join the CMF. Join the CMF on Telegram. It's completely free. This live is free Monday to Friday, 11:25 p.m. UK time. Join the CMF on Telegram. Join the CMF on the X communities page named Crypto Miles Family, which is what the CMF stands for, Crypto Miles Family Lounge. Also, if you have followed me, thank you so much. If you followed me during this live for the first time ever, if you subscribed to me during this live for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF, and thank you so much for following me. If you haven't already, follow, subscribe, like, comment, share, retweet, and I'll be seeing everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. But before we go, let's consider the comment section first. Could Biden dump the BTC holdings of the government to throw off market and Trump? Yes, it is a possibility that Biden could do that. I'll be honest. It is a possibility, yes. So is Tangent definitely secure now? Yes. Good night, Miles, and thank you for the great live and all the news. JP, let's go. See you tomorrow, sometimes usual, brother. And yes, happy Pisces. It is a possibility, I'll be honest. Thank you, Miles. Take care and see you tomorrow. Mike, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well, brother. Good night, brother Miles, and another brilliant live show. Very bullish indeed. Good night, CMF. Funky brother. Let's go. See you tomorrow, sometimes usual. Let's go, XRP on me. Let's go, XRP on me. Let's go, funky brother. Thank you, Miles. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Talk. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Let's go, CMF. Great live, brother. Another from another mother. Take care, all. Ray. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Night, Miles and family. Happy 2025. Let's go, commentators. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Happy 2025 as well. Always great listening to you. Thanks, Miles. Good night, and see you tomorrow. Artistic. Let's go. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Thanks for all the educational news, Miles. We appreciate you so much. Sweet dreams. Long. Let's go. Stormy. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Thank you, Miles. Good night, CMF. Pierce. See you tomorrow, but at the same time as usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Thanks, Miles. Great live. See you tomorrow. 35, but see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Good night, everyone. Bull XRP. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Good night, brother. Donny. See you tomorrow, but at the same time as usual. Thank you, Miles. Have a lovely night and sleep tight, CMF. Let's go, Lena. Lena, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Good night, Miles and CMF. Great live. Let's go. Carol, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well. Thanks, Legend. Night and day, CMF. Shelly, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well. XRP to another galaxy. Let's go, Stormy. Facts. See you tomorrow, sometimes usual. I'll be seeing everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you're around the world. CMF, see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual, 11:25 p.m. UK time onwards. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow if you already haven't. See everybody tomorrow, same time as usual.